Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. The Liberal team has been unveiled, fighting to retain power as the state election campaign enters its second week. Public servants, party faithful and previous candidates are on the ticket, but it's a number of women that had Jeremy Rockcliffe facing questions today.
Introducing the class of 24, Jeremy Rockcliffe is giving his batch of Liberal candidates an A+.
I'm really passionate about youth mental health, and those that know me will know that. And I think standing with the Liberals has given me a bigger leverage.
Burnie Deputy Mayor Giovanna Simpson putting her hand up. So too Launceston media personality Rob Fairs.
Being in the media for so long, both radio and TV, you come across, you deal with the issues, you're talking about them all the time, and people talk to you.
Not shooting down suggestions, he spoke to other parties. The CEO of children's charity Variety, Mohammed Aldagam, says he's motivated by helping more people.
How can I take my experience in my community, in the community sector and community development into a wider and larger scale?
The candidate list features more than twice as many men as women.
Do you think that's enough?
I'm very excited about the team that we have.
Jeremy Rockcliffe's Northern Tasmanian team now looks more like Ron Burgundy's Channel 4 news team than a serious political lineup.
Previous candidates Gregory Brown and Stephanie Cameron are running again, as well as Dr Julie Slatton, who's argued against vaccine mandates. The Premier said in a statement, the Liberals are a broad church. The firm behind the most recent polling says the Liberals will have to battle a mood for change.
53% of Tasmanians saying the government does not deserve to be elected, with only 26% saying they do. The government's in a deep hole.
But YouGov hasn't seen voters flock to Labor, who hopes cost of living relief is the winning ticket, promising to remove power connection fees for renters.
On average, renters are moving every 2 years, and the cost each of those times can be up to as much as $200.
I watch my son with his 3 children shift every year, and all they do is get further and further in debt because it costs so much to move house.
Labor also announcing an extra Lions candidate, Southern Midlands Mayor Edwin Batt. Focusing on cost of living too, the Greens want to scrap school levies, saying it'll save families around $900 per year, and provide further support for concession card holders to buy school supplies.
It's cutting the cost of living for Tasmanian families. It's assisting families with what is a significant expense in their annual budget.
The battle to ease household budgets, well and truly alive. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanians have shared stories of heartbreak and hope during a Senate inquiry into treatment for rare cancers. The panel hearing the gruelling impact of limited regional resources and having to travel overseas for clinical trials.
Well-known Bridport horse trainer Rob Hammond's taken some time away from the track. Today, sharing the impact of his journey with neuroendocrine cancer.
After numerous blood tests, ultrasounds, PET scans, CT scans, it was discovered I too had pancreatic NETs. Having a rare form of cancer here, no one understands. You can't just ring up and talk to your specialist when you need to.
And he wasn't alone. Stories flooding in from industry and residents at the Hobart leg of the national inquiry into equitable access to diagnosis and treatment for rare and less common cancers. The panel hearing some common trends from patients across the country.
The difficulties of diagnosis for rare cancers in particular, and then having continuity of care and having sort of health practitioners actually having the skills to diagnose what's going on.
Many forced to access clinical trials overseas, placing additional stress costs on already struggling families. One patient who phoned in told the inquiry they learnt some cancers were more important than others.
We've heard from some of our lived experience today that transport and accommodation is a key part of getting to put minds at ease of parents, especially when they've got young children.
The inquiry will next head to Canberra for its final stop at the end of March, having previously held hearings in Sydney and Melbourne, with a final report expected to be handed down in about a month's time.
I'm hopeful that the power of the evidence that we're gathering through this this inquiry will mean that we will get some response from government.
So patients and their families affected by the debilitating disease can receive adequate support. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
Hobart's housing market appears to be cooling, with the latest CoreLogic report showing a slowdown in the gap between the cost of buying a unit and buying a house. Hobart's house premium, the difference between medium capital city house and unit values, sat at just over 29% in the month of January, while still more than 1% higher than before COVID. It's down more than 3 percentage points from the same time last year. Sandy Bay is a suburb with the largest gap, while Claremont has the smallest. Metro's new electric buses have been taken off the road less than a month since their launch, suffering what the company is describing as teething issues. The 4 battery-powered buses are part of a 2-year trial of a zero-emission public transport fleet. Metro says the issues are software-related and the safety of passengers has not been put at risk. The Tasmanian Fire Service is marking a major milestone, celebrating 30 years of its school fire education program. These safety tips sticking with multiple generations of students as the masterminds behind the vital classroom lesson salute its ongoing success.
Stop, drop, rock and roll.
It's a phrase Tasmanian primary school students are well accustomed to. The iconic saying, just one of the many memorable takeaways from the school fire education program.
Definitely stop, drop and roll. Cool on and go, go, go. We get to have some fun.
The Tasmania Fire Service returning to the classroom today, back to where it all began at St Thomas More's Primary School in 1994. The now statewide initiative teaching basic home fire safety tips to the youngest of inquisitive minds.
To have real firefighters presenting this, it's just inspiring, and the messages get through a lot quicker and a lot more clearer.
30 years on, it remains a staple of the education calendar.
It's the building blocks for primary age school children. It's successful because it's interactive and people learn from a positive experience.
The children still love it. They're learning so much from firefighters who have got the passion to get very important messages across to our community.
The trip down memory lane not just limited to those who run the program. Danielle Hodgetts was among one of the first cohorts to participate in the lessons.
I still remember, the stop, drop and rock and roll.
Now back as a teacher at a former school, she continues to see the long-lasting benefits of the sessions.
They're just so engaged in the program. It's really rewarding because they can see that this means something to them.
All about trying on the gear to make sure they have all the right ideas.
Had to try to get changed in the clothes in 1 minute. It's really hot in there.
Sparking a knowledge of safety to last a lifetime. Victoria Eastoe, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, just weeks after 800 athletes took over the streets of Hobart, organisers of the Ironman 70.3 have confirmed the event won't return to Tasmania next year. That's despite state government support through a 5-year deal that was supposed to see the race run here until 2027. Events Tasmania is hopeful the event will be back, saying it's working with organisers to make remaining seasons even better. The secrets of the deep are set to bamboozle Tasmanians when an iconic crop maze returns next month. Paying homage to local sea life, the latest creation at Woodswood Farm is expected to draw thousands to its twists and turns.
It's a cryptic crop which has stumped visitors for a decade, and Hagley's favourite farm maze is set to puzzle visitors yet again.
It generates a lot of excitement, even with our family. Our family just love that whole thing of all people coming onto the farm and talking to them.
Camouflaged within the sea of corn, a weedy sea dragon waits. The annual reveal highly anticipated by locals.
I had a lady texting me this morning saying her daughter loves sea horses, but this is a sea dragon, so she's really excited.
This year's theme, a nod to the Clark family's annual East Coast holiday.
So we drive through the farm and you can see it up there and you think, oh, the coastal water's lovely, amongst all this dryness at the moment.
A dry summer forcing Anna and her husband to irrigate late and hope for a decent dumping of rain before Gala Day.
And when you have big rain because everything's just, it points up to the sky.
The 5-hectare maze within the maze will eventually tower over 2 metres tall, while another challenge lies hidden in the corn.
So they've got to find all these different hidden game boards and answer their questions and learn about the theme that we have introduced to the maze.
It can take more than 3 months to grow a crop maze like this one to its full height. And so it doesn't take that long to escape it, Anna's providing her guests with an emergency map.
They'll get the map and they'll start, and then they'll realise they actually don't know where they are. So they then need to start talking to people within the maze and communicating to people.
And if all else fails, help is never too far away.
Look, it doesn't take long for me to find people. Yeah, I can usually rush about quite quickly if I have to.
Rupert's Wood Farm Maze opens on March 2. Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
After 2 months on the bench, jack jumper Majuk Dang seems like he may be fit in time for next week's seeding qualifier against the Hawks. The NBL Final Series launched today with a pump-up from a basketball legend. After a sprint finish in the race to finals, it's down to 6 clubs. And few know postseason like 6-time NBA champion Scottie Pippen, arriving at today's launch with some stern advice.
Every team in the playoffs is capable of beating whoever they're playing against. You have to be playing some of your best basketball. You have to be taking every possession serious, and you have to take your opponent serious.
With the Jackies' first trophy on the line, Scott Roth's done all he can. Now it's over to the players.
They're very well prepared. They understand what they need to get done. We have great leadership internally with our group, which I think is hugely important. The more I coach, the worse they get. So as far as I can stay away from them and let them function the way they know how to.
It's that faith from the coach that Sean McDonald credits with his success, named the league's most improved player at last night's MVP Awards.
He's trusted me completely, so just to go out and play my game and have an impact with the team, it's been unreal.
But if there was a gong for most improved club, it would probably go to Tassie's next opponent. The Hawks pulled out of the doldrums mid-season by their new coach, even stealing a win at MyState Bank Arena.
I wasn't great the first 2 games, but then the third game, a double overtime, and one of the noisiest venues I've ever been in my life. But it was good for us to find a way that we got a win out of there, knowing that when we go back on Wednesday, anything can happen.
But the Jackies aren't a threat to be taken lightly, having tidied up the small errors holding them back.
You know, at one point of the season, I think we were 4th offensively and around 8th or 9th defensively, and I think this year we ended up finishing in the top 2 in both categories. So we've come a long way.
Thursday looms as D-Day for Molly Strano's chances of playing for Tasmania in Saturday's WNCL Grand Final. The Tigers coach confident their captain will be back to face Queensland and help the team to attempt to create a slice of history.
It's called Tassie Home for 2 years, but the Tigers players and coaches aren't taking for granted. They're competing for yet another trophy.
I don't think you ever get used to finals week because it's always a privilege to be in a final. So, yeah, we're keeping things pretty similar.
However, it's not all smooth sailing. Star spinner Molly Strano remains in doubt due to a broken hand. She bowled last night. With a training session later this week, shaping is critical.
But obviously, yeah, haven't tested it in the field or anything like that yet, so still a fair way off knowing.
The coach expects a decision to be made before Saturday.
An extra 24 hours is probably not going to make a huge difference. I don't know that we'll leave it that late.
Captain Elise Villani is a chance of playing after missing matches against WA.
She's progressed really nicely, had a full training session yesterday, so fingers crossed.
History also on the line, with only New South Wales winning more than 3 in a row. Memories like last year's nail-biter to be used as inspiration.
We will look back, and probably on Friday, get a few video clips and go through our journey so far.
After taking over midway through last season, Jude says she feels more comfortable about the impact she's made this year. And if they win, we're likely to see her make a rare foray onto social media.
The girls have been giving me grief all week about the fact that the last thing I posted on social media was something from the Strikers. So I've told them if they win, they'll get a post.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's Talent League program has been boosted with the local AFLW legend returning to lead the girls in 2024. Former Bomber and Lion Jess Wushner has been appointed the Devils' female head coach. The 2021 Premiership player says she has a passion for teaching the game, also looking to bring some fun.
They can come in and be themselves and learn as much as they want to learn, and I'll give them every resource that I can to ensure that they can be the best players and people that they can.
AFLW experience like Jess's doesn't grow on trees, particularly here in Tasmania, so it's amazing to get her back in.
Jess's first match in charge will be against Oakley at UTAS Stadium on April 7. The men will open their Talent League season on the road against the Murray Bushrangers on March 23. The Tridents have slipped out of the top 5 of the Bowls Premier League after an unsuccessful day on the green in Moama. The Tassie seemed to have their eye in but were unable to tame the Sydney Lions this afternoon. Luckily, they still have another 2 days of action to qualify for finals.
Good evening. Hobart 24 today. Launceston, Bushy Park and Straw now high with 26 degrees. Devonport 23 and Burnie 22. Temperatures around or just above average today. Grove 25, Friendly Beaches 24, St Helens and King Island 23, Low Head and Flinders Island 21. Flinders Island also a shower of rain with scattered falls over the northwest and far northeast as this cloud moved over the state. Mid to high clouders over parts of Western and South Australia, along with Western Victoria, a patch over coastal New South Wales, thunderstorm activity over the tropics. Tomorrow, the high moves further over the Tasman Sea, still with a ridge over us though. The Bureau says a relaxed pressure pattern remains elsewhere. Winds east nor'easterly increasing to 20 to 30 knots over the southeast in the afternoon, swells down to below 2 metres. But we do have a strong wind warning for that patch in the southeast, Wineglass Bay to southeast Cape, including Storm Bay. Hobart, a high tomorrow of 30, partly cloudy, sunny for Geeveston, 31 and 29 the top for Bothwell. Launceston, a high of 26 with showers increasing, showery for Devonport, 24 and 26 for Cressy. Burnie expecting 22 with a shower or two. Sunny for Strawn, 28 the top, 27 degrees for Curry on King Island, 24 for St Helens with a shower, afternoon shower for Swansea and 27 the high for Orford. On Thursday, getting nice and warm and mostly sunny apart from a west coast shower. A big drop in the mercury though on Friday as a shower continues in the west, Bass Strait and possibly the northeast. And on Saturday, a morning shower clearing the west with fine sunny weather for the remainder of the state. 30 and partly cloudy in Perth, a warm sunny day in Adelaide, partly cloudy in Melbourne and 33 there. Still those showers up the eastern fringe with showers from Sydney to Darwin and beyond to Broome. Here it's partly cloudy and 21 in Hobart and Launceston, partly cloudy in Devonport and 20. And Kim, now the election campaign has started, I've decided to every night help train people on who to vote for until I saw an email from the boss saying, you know, we're not allowed to do that sort of thing. How are we going to get around that?
Oh, surprise, surprise. We've got rules around here, Murph. Learn to follow them. And that is all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night, everyone.